not on the agenda.
I do have one update that is not on the agenda here. I just want to let folks know that things have been moving forward fast and furious on the development of the Big Sky Passenger Rail Authority. And yesterday we learned that both Dawson County and the far eastern part of the state, and also Sanders County to our northwest, are interested in and willing to support the formation of the authority. So with that, we have the minimum number of counties necessary to make it happen. We will continue to solicit additional counties for the next couple of weeks here, and then we will do this thing.
So exciting, Dave. Well done.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Well, first up is Adrian.
Good morning, everyone. So what you have before you is a standard documentation to accept emergency management performance grants. As you will recall, this is an annual grant that's a federal pass-through to the state that then comes to our office by way of enhancing emergency management projects and initiatives. We have historically used this grant to pay for 50% of eligible staff time, and that is our proposal with this grant as well. The total project award is $248,194.80. So the federal share of that is half, which we match with staff salaries, as I indicated, as well as some of the contracts for service, such as our mass notification and some of our emergency management software.
Is there a motion to accept some funds, Dave?
Yeah, and sorry for that noise in the background there. I did not mute myself. I was pouring myself a cup of coffee. So if that was distracting. Yeah, I would move that we, let's see here, authorize the chair to sign the obligating documents.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Kayla.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So I am here as a follow-up to our conversation we had last week about the FY21 alcohol tax fund designation paperwork. So I request board approve the FY21 alcohol tax fund service provider designation form, which allows the county commissioners to designate state-approved chemical dependency service providers to receive earmarked alcohol tax monies for the provision of the chemical dependency treatment and prevention services. In FY21, Western Montana Mental Health Center will receive 43% of the allocation. All Nations Health Center will receive 24%. Stepping Stones Counseling will receive 19%. Open Aid Alliance will receive 14% of the allocation, and the contract will run from July 1, 2020 through June 30, 2021. And
what did you say the allocation amount was? The full?
Yeah, so we don't have the full award amount yet. The state doesn't release that until late June or early July.
Okay.
So this is, they submit a letter of interest if they're interested in receiving this money from this fund. And so we just break it out into percentages. So Western will receive 43, All Nations will receive 24%, Stepping Stones Counseling will receive 19%, Open Aid Alliance will receive 14% of the pot of money that is available. So this is not, it functions quite differently from a lot of our other funds that we manage. But we receive a list of eligible agencies from DPHHS, and then we reach out to all those agencies asking if they're interested in receiving funds for this upcoming year. And those who have expressed interest submit a letter of interest to us, and that's how we break out the designation allocation.
Okay, thanks.
Great, thanks. Yeah, this way in which you've broken out the allocations seems to make a lot of sense. So I'll move that we approve the form.
second. All in favor?
I,
And Cheryl Ziegler. Oops, you're on mute, Cheryl.
All right, sorry, a little slowdown and the computer wasn't responding to the unmute button. Good morning, everyone. So third item on your agenda is also money coming in, hopefully. So it's a good morning so far, right? I am requesting that the board approve the application for the MBCC grant, so Montana Board of Crime Control grant for juvenile detention services. This is the Western Region grant we've gotten annually for years and years and years. So it supports more than just Missoula County. We administer this grant for, I believe, 5 other counties. And Missoula's expected award amount this year is $57,592 and some change. Additionally, we received some extra funds for an administrative fee for managing the grant, and that will be in the amount of $1,567.13. Again, this is just the application for the grant. Final grant approval will come before the board in probably about a month.
What are the other 4 counties? Or
It's 5 counties. It's Flathead, Lake Sanders, Lincoln, Mineral, Missoula, and Ravalli.
Aha, cool.
Cheryl, is the amount that we're expecting here based on what we've received in the past?
It's based on population numbers, and so it's really pretty consistent with last year. It is down a couple $1,000s, but it's pretty consistent. I expect that we'll see a drop in this for obvious reasons next year as the jail's really limited populations. So, you know, we will see some impact on that next year, but we also aren't really using it to fully fund any of our FTEs. So we don't really see necessarily a loss in resources. It's more just kind of a boost piece, which is great. So it'll hurt, but it's not going to take anybody's job away, is the good news.
Okay. Well, thanks. I see no reason not to submit an application, so I would move that we authorize the chair to sign the grant application.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Conway. Oh, or Brian.
Conway, good morning. Sorry I couldn't join you on Teams this morning. My computer crashed on me. And so hopefully what you have in front of you there is an agreement with First Step to renew our contract at an increased amount. Do you have a copy of that, Annie?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
we have it.
So we entered into this contract with First Step about 2 years ago, and it's our usage of them has increased, and per the contract, they now want to increase our fee. So it would go up from $10,000 annually to $15,000.
And could you explain a little bit as far as the services that are provided under this contract?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I'll give you a little history as well. So First Step provides forensic medical and interview examinations of sex assault clients. So specifically, they deal with juveniles, and they've expanded that now to adults as well. So they collect the physical evidence for us and do physical examinations, and then they do recorded forensic interviews with nurses there. Over the years, we found it's best practices to have, especially when we're dealing with kids and with vulnerable adults, to have those interviews done in a more clinical setting with a nurse as opposed to a cop sitting there in uniform. And we get better results from those interviews. So we've been using them for, 15, 20 years, a long time. And they traditionally had billed Medicaid or Medicare for their services. And then they found out that they couldn't do that any longer a couple of years ago for administrative reasons. They don't necessarily have a doctor who supervises all of this. Their supervisor is an RN. And so that didn't fit the billing requirements for Medicare and Medicaid, which left agencies to foot the bill for this. And so we use them, as well as all of the regional law enforcement and all of the surrounding counties or Western regional counties use them, as well as CPS. the way they established this bill or their billing procedure, the original one at 10,000 was they looked at the number of cases that we submit to them, and they divided it out based on the cost per case. But then they also put in the clause that if that increased by more than 20%, they would reevaluate the billing procedure. And apparently over this last calendar year, because they're on calendars, it did increase more than 20%. So they're asking for an additional $5,000.
All right, and just out of curiosity, is First Step the only service provider that can deliver the services that we're looking for here? And in addition, and recognizing this is an amendment to the contract or to the letter of agreement, is this something that we have in the past gone out with an RFP for?
No, they're the only ones in this area. So there's a child advocacy center here, which is First Step, and then I think one in Great Falls and one in Billings, and so they operate as regional assets.
Okay, thanks. I would move that we approve the renewal of amendment number 1 to the letter of agreement.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you so much.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you guys. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Looks like 5 through 11 are all standard employment agreements. Can we do them all at once, or what's?
You can do them all at once. These are renewal contracts. You'll have a couple of admins where you have these, all of partnerships contracts come due at the end of June, beginning of July. And so you'll see renewals for a lot of their providers coming through in the next couple of weeks. And these are just renewals for their providers.
Okay, and anything noteworthy, Chris? Any dead weight here that we need to eliminate, or?
I would say, since they're being recommended by Lori for renewal, that there's probably no dead weight there.
Okay.
I'm
I
sorry,
would.
12, 7 through 12. I didn't mean 11. My page didn't scroll down.
Okay, I would move that we approve items 7 through 12.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Correspondence. Who wants to talk about the letter to, or to DEQ?
Hi, Juanita. This is Chad. I can do that. And I don't know if we have Travis on the line. He had helped me a little bit with this, and I wasn't sure if he was going to be able to join or not. I'm not seeing him as I just quickly scan through. So anyway, so this is a request for the BCC to submit a letter to Montana Department of Environmental Quality to request that a public hearing be held. And this is in regards to a proposed open cut mine, which is going to be a gravel pit out in the Smurfit Stone area. And so working with Travis, we've just identified, as you're well aware, the public is very concerned, as are we, about all of the various layers and complexity that exists out there. And for all of those reasons, would like to request that DEQ have a hearing in relation to this proposal.
All right, that seems like a prudent thing to do. Will this be distributed via DocuSign, I'm assuming, to sign? Annie?
Yes, hopefully with Annie's help, we'll be able to route that that way for you. And we've got that set up for all of the commissioners to sign.
Okay. Is there?
So,
Great,
sorry.
nice volcano in the background there, Annie. I like that.
We're doing this by our mood today, right? So Josh is out today. I marked him as not available on the letter. Is that okay, Chet? And then I'll have Dave and Juanita sign today by DocuSign.
That's fine with me, as long as that's fine with the commission.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah, I think this is it's probably okay with a letter like that. This, and in other cases, it looks a little tacky to have not available for signature on there. But I think that. What do you think, Juan?
Well, I know Josh cares about this a lot, so maybe.
What's the deadline?
Yeah, what's the deadline?
We still have some time on this one. Let me look really quickly. I want to say there's still maybe a week left before this closes. 1 second here. I'm scrolling through.
Well, Josh, I mean, he is checking email periodically, so if you just let him know that there's something that needs to be signed via DocuSign, I'm sure he will.
Yeah, and we've got through the 10th of July that DEQ is accepting those requests. So Annie, if we want to catch Josh between now and then.
I can do that.
That would make me feel better.
Yeah, let's do that.
No problem. That's how we'll move forward then.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Chet and Travis. The letters to Danes and Gianforte.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you. Yeah, and thanks, and Andrew, thanks for your participation in yesterday's meeting with Representative Gianforte. I thought having you on the line was way more effective than me trying to muddle through some of the financial explanations that we were trying to deliver.
Well, thank you very much. I enjoyed being part of that conversation. I found him to be a very straightforward individual. So
Yeah, that was
yeah, it was good. So I guess we've already signed those, have we not, or is something still coming to us?
No, you've signed them. They've and I believe
This was just a notice
okay.
Yeah.
because you had your meeting with Representative Gianforte yesterday. Have it on a public meeting in advance.
right. I believe the one to Senator Daines you signed, and that's on its way as well.
Great.
Correct.
They're both
sound
essentially the
terribly-
same.
He didn't sound terribly positive. He kind of punted, saying that the money's already in Montana. It's just tied up in Helena, and it'll get to you eventually.
Well, what I didn't understand is where he was getting the $2.5 billion figure from.
As opposed to the 1.25.
Right.
I other than just multiplying 1.25 by 2, yeah, I wasn't sure where that was. It must have been some other. I have no idea. I'm not even going to speculate.
I'm
So
trying
I
to
what I
do some
believe-
research on it right now, but I haven't been successful.
So Andrew,
Yeah.
in the original CARES Act information that we got from, I believe it was NACO, but it might have been NACO that came. I believe what he's looking at is the money that was set aside separate from the CARES Act for education and for health through DPHHS and for the schools through OPI. So there was stuff there. There was a separate bill that had direct funding through DPHHS, direct funding through Office of Public Instruction, and direct funding through the Office of Higher Education. That was also set aside where each state had a base amount and then a certain amount based on population. And my guess is that the base amount for that one also might have been that amount. But I'm thinking it's that. It was one of the very first pieces of correspondence that we got from either MACO or NACO that showed those minimum state breakdowns.
Right.
And I'm guessing it's that, but I mean, that's completely separate from the CARES Act that the governor has flexibility on. Those were very specific directed funds for a very specific direct purpose.
I can't imagine it was that large a number, though. That's what's confusing to me.
Yeah, I don't remember it being that high, but my memory is as good as one would expect when it comes to that, when I knew it wasn't money that we were gonna, that wasn't gonna have any direct local government impact.
Right. Well, I'll continue looking at my correspondence and the NACO files and see if I can dig something up.
Chris, what you were just saying reminded me. Can you explain to me how detention salaries aren't reimbursable at all with any CARES Act funding anywhere?
So detention center salaries are refundable under the CARES Act. the state of Montana has put additional requirements in place, and they have determined that in the state of Montana, they are not at this time going to include detention salaries as first responder salaries that are eligible for reimbursement under the CARES Act. That does not match the Treasury guidance, and it does not match what is occurring in other states. The state has said, and this was from the conversation with MACO that we had last Friday with MACO, that they believe that the state will eventually allow a detention center, but they are being both cautious and also frugal in their spending. Frugal's the word I'm making up, not the word that Eric Bryson used. In right now not allowing everything that's eligible to make sure that they can cover as many expenses as they can. And that he believes that by the time we get through after the first couple of submissions, when they see what the actual amounts are, local governments are reimbursing, that they will then open their interpretation up to more widely match the Treasury guidance.
So this might be something we want to bring up with the other urban counties this afternoon. Are you going to be able to make that call, Juanita?
Oh, yeah. Is it urban?
I think
Yeah.
it's this afternoon at 1 or
I believe it's at 1 o'clock. Let me just double check.
Yeah.
so.
We reported the detention center salaries nonetheless on our form requesting reimbursement, but we simply split them out so there wouldn't slow down the process if they chose not to reimburse them. But we will continue to report those salaries.
Yeah, I just wonder if maybe there's a collective strategy we could adopt with the other urban counties to engage the governor or I guess the governor on this particular issue.
Yeah, I can't imagine they're going to be able to spend the entire 1.25 million before the end of the calendar year. So I'm with Chris. I think eventually they'll capitulate and allow us to claim those salaries.
What Gianforte was saying about extending the timeline to June, is that, what do you guys think? Is that a reality or what's?
Well,
Flip a coin. I mean, yeah,
that would be great.
I can't imagine, given the current COVID-19 numbers that we're seeing across the nation or even here in Montana, that we're going to be completely back to normal by the end of this calendar year.
No, that's just not going to happen. And seeing it, I mean, the possibility of us even having the money expended by the end of the year is there's a question mark there, and certainly the funding into the next year would be very helpful.
Okay. Oh, I have a non-COVID question. I got an email, I think I forwarded it to you guys, about the Clinton irrigation ditch. And Shelley Nelson asking for a letter of support.
Yeah, there's been a flurry of correspondence this morning on that from Travis Ross, and I think it sounds like the Conservation District is supportive of the proposal, but I think Travis was going to be perhaps tracking down some additional information for us.
Okay.
And John Hart just forwarded you the letter from the Conservation District in support of the project, but he does not have access to the actual application for those materials. But the Conservation District did write a letter of support.
Okay, so what can or cannot the commission do? Should we be writing a letter of support?
If we so choose, we certainly can. Maybe we ought to put this on, I don't know when the next time is we meet with CAPS. It might not be next
That
week.
Monday? Do we meet with CAPS on Monday?
I believe so.
If
Yes. Yep.
maybe we could put this on the CAPS agenda to talk through and figure out a letter.
Is that okay, Sarah, Annie, Chet?
And so I was looking to see if Chet was still on, but it looks like Chet might have dropped off. I can email Chet and ask him if he can put it on the CAPS agenda.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I haven't looked at my email yet today, so. Oh, and then also adding to the CAPS agenda, a little update on like the mining situation in 9 Mile. Okay, upcoming board meetings and review of meetings. Urban Counties, Dave, Urban Counties I don't think it's on my calendar.
Oh,
Can
really?
I? Oh, it is?
Yep. So it's on there on the BCC calendar. It's marked has your initials and Dave's initials.
Aha, I will be there then. Thank you. I was trying a different calendar view and I
So besides maybe bringing up the the issue of detention officer salary and CARES Act reimbursement for that, the other thing that I think we had talked about maybe comparing notes with other counties and maybe urban counties about was what approach to broadband expansion they might be taking. So we can just float the idea in light of our conversation a number of days ago where we were thinking, well, maybe there could be some economy of scale and opportunity to work with, say, Ravalli County on broadband expansion. Maybe there are other counties doing something similar that we can compare notes with. Was there anything else that we wanted to bring up with the urban counties that folks can think of?
It'd be interesting to know how many delinquencies they're having in the property taxes going into the end of the year. You know, I still think that lost revenue piece of the CARES Act, although it's an uphill battle, is one that we should continue to fight. It's it makes a lot of sense if we don't do it from the standpoint of the government losing money, but do it from the standpoint of the individual taxpayer being unable to pay his taxes. I think that would make a lot of sense.
And what was our number again, Andrew? You said we went to 4%?
Yeah, right now, as of Monday, we're at 4% delinquencies compared to 3% last year, and 1% equals approximately $2 million to Missoula County. And all the schools and everybody else we collect taxes for, we don't get, yeah.
Wait, did you just say 1% equals about $1 million?
$2 million.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay, well, that's good to know. We can share that with the other folks and see if they've experienced anything similarly.
And that infrastructure bill that Trump's talking about, that would include some provisions for expansion of broadband. And that may be a very good thing for our state.
Communication needs requests.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. I don't have anything other than just, Dave, if you want to follow up via email with me and Sarah on whether you want to go to that. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, now we can. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh, I was just saying, Dave, if you want to follow up via email with Sarah and me on the tour of the testing facility tomorrow, that would be great, just so we can let them know.
Oh,
I
Dave
think Dave might have frozen.
In the morning.
Oh, maybe.
Is that any better?
There, we can
Am I
hear
back?
you. You're back.
There you go.
You're still fuzzy and frozen, but.
Yes, well. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll follow up with you, Allison.
Thank you.
The only other thing, commissioners, is your next meeting with the mayor is July 2nd, and he is not in the office that week for the 4th of July holiday. Did we want to cancel July or see about rescheduling it if you had specific items?
Let's reschedule because I feel like, I don't know, there's exciting community stuff happening.
Yeah, let's reschedule.
Okay, I will work with Emmy on getting that rescheduled.
COVID-19, flood, fire, locusts.
Forgot the murder hornets.
Oh, murder hornets. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about murder hornets or invasive hogs.
Just a state line away. So yeah, COVID-19 front, I think you guys are probably keeping track of some increases in case counts that we're seeing not only across the state, but also here in Missoula. Our activities around non-congregate sheltering continue. We are operating on our third now 30-day extension. So that'll take us till the middle of July under approval for that activity. And we just continue to kind of, in the EOC at least, collaborate with the health department and try to meet their unmet needs and reduce their complexity so that they can be successful in their contact tracing and testing for within our community. Flooding, changing gears just a little bit. We are expected to see kind of what we hope to be our last little bump in the river. Right now, the models are showing that we may hit that flood stage. We're hopeful that we may just skate underneath it for the last time this spring, at which point, hopefully early next week, we'll be able to have you rescind the emergency proclamation around flooding. Just as an update, probably about 4 weeks ago, I shared with you some pictures of the state of Kerwald Drive, a private drive that does get severely impacted by flooding. And once the flooding waters had receded, the road was in pretty rough shape. We don't know who, but we're assuming kind of a collection of homeowners has kind of repaired the road themselves. So right now, I think that it's in good shape and is a drivable surface and is going to meet their needs.
Hey, Adrian.
Yes.
Yeah, so I got a phone call from Representative Willis Curdy, who would probably beg to differ with the condition of the road, and then some of the property owners are apparently complaining about the condition. So anyway, I think we have scheduled on Monday morning a discussion with Public Works to talk that through. So I don't know if you want to participate in that or not.
If you'd like me to be there, I'm happy to. All I can report is that it is in much better condition than it was from the pictures that I showed you. Someone's brought in quite a bit of gravel and graded it at as of today.
Okay, well, maybe it's a moot point. So
we're not quite out of flood yet, but we're hoping that by the end of the week we can put that in our rearview mirror just in time for fire season. All indications are is that we'll be in store for an above average fire season in Western Montana as we're looking at our 1,000-hour fuel moistures as well as kind of what we see in the extended forecast. There's several comparative years, but I always say that I'll tell you what fire season is going to be in August. So we'll just kind of wait and see. One of the major activities that we're working on right now relative to fire season is working with not only Region 1, but the Lolo National Forest and DNRC to ensure that we're just really hyper coordinated on fire response in a COVID-19 environment. And so really trying to get them connected at the hip with the health department so that in the event that we do start to see cases within the firefighting community, that we have good plans in place, but also that everybody's expectations are known from the agencies as well as local government. So, end of report.
Thanks.
Thank you. So what is our current case load in Missoula County right now?
So currently Missoula County is sitting at 7 active cases. And those 7 active cases have over 120 contacts that the health department is doing contact tracing on.
So that's a significant jump over the past number of weeks.
And that's consistent with what we're seeing in a lot of other communities. So today there were 2 new cases reported in Missoula County. 4 new cases in Bighorn County, which continues to be a hotspot. Flathead County picked up 4. Gallatin County picked up 4 in the last 24 hours, and Yellowstone County picked up 3. So 25 new cases in the last 24 hours statewide.
Okay. And we've been getting like 2 new cases. We got 2 on Monday and 2 over the weekend and 2 on Wednesday.
Correct.
Okay. Upcoming events and invitations. Nothing?
I think the only thing we have beyond the Urban Counties meeting this week is the Mako district meetings next week. The officers had a chance to talk a little bit last night about resolutions, so we'll have those ready for you for next week. We have a discussion slated specifically about that on admin on, I think it's Tuesday of next week.
Great. And Dave, you're able to go to that district meeting?
Yep, I will be there for that.
Thank you. Well, I think we're done.
I have one more thing. We have one item that's on a pretty short deadline. So Juan and Dave, I'll be sending the DocuSign here within 5 minutes. If you wouldn't mind taking a look at that today so I can turn around and get that out ASAP, that would be much appreciated.
Okie dokie.
Will do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, have a great rest of your Thursday, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.